Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Great guest. We have Laura. And one of the reasons why I thought Laura was such a great addition to our cadre of Ladies Power Lunch speakers is because she talks about one of the things that if you can't get beyond that, guys, you're going nowhere and you're doing it super fast. She talks about that mindset and that money mindset, which who doesn't need to have that conversation today? So, welcome, Laura. So happy to have you. Always like
Thank
to
you.
have.
I love we have the Beyonce energy and the Laura energy. Just one word,
just
Laura.
just one word, Laura. It's what it is. And we're really excited that we have a full house of entrepreneurs here with us today, because if you happen to be watching along with us on the replay, or if you're watching along with us on our YouTube channel, or even listening while driving on our podcast, then you'll have an idea of the type of person that Laura's work will appeal to. So I want to give us an opportunity to meet some of our Ladies Power Lunch entrepreneurs who have taken the time to join us right here in the room today. Kelly, you want to start and just share with everybody who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Kelly McCarthy. I'm a third generation shaman and an animal communicator, and I own Beyond Words and Wisdom.
Okay, so guys, if you are a third generation shaman, then this show is for you. Welcome, Carlene. Thanks so much for joining us. Can you just share very briefly with everybody who you are and what it is that you do?
Okay, I am Carlene and I live in Connecticut, and I've got some tools. I'm a connector with some tools to enhance our lives. I help people stay connected and build relationships with send out cards, and I help them with their wellness and well-being with Nikan Wellness.
So, guys, if you are somebody who helps to connect people, or if you help people with health and wellness, this message is also for you. And Dina, thanks so much for joining us in the room today. Can you share with everybody who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Dina Otrin. I'm an empowerment life coach and licensed professional counselor in the mental health field for 23 years.
And so, if you have been in the mental health field for 23 years, you are also welcome to join this conversation. See how this conversation really fits just about any kind of entrepreneur, any kind of small businesswoman that's out there. This conversation is for you. So, may I please welcome my dear friend, and she's about to be your dear friend as well, Laura West. She's an amazing, magical person. I love her so much. I love what she does in the world, and I love how welcoming she is with her clients. And today she's going to talk to us a little bit about that money mindset and also fitting that in with our marketing. So, Laura, will you share with everybody who you are and what you do in the world?
Sure. I am Laura West, and my company is called the Center for Joyful Business over at joyfulbusiness.com. I have been a business success coach internationally for 21 years, going on my 22nd year now. And I love working with conscious entrepreneurs who are, putting their work out into the world and using their work as a way to both express their gifts that they've been given or they have developed, and also create an impactful transformation in the world, a positive impact in the world, and make really great money doing it. Yay! Jazz hands for that, right?
Jazz hands! Come on, let's face it. I met Laura through a mutual friend of ours who really talks a lot about embodying your magic in your business. And one of the things that struck me about Laura is that we're so similar in terms of our energy types, but we're also really focused on making sure that the entrepreneurs that come into our sphere, that they're not just doing the thing that they're doing and supporting the people that they're supporting, but also that they're supporting themselves. Because the truth of the matter is, if you are not resourced in your business, then your business won't continue and you won't be able to serve the people that you're here to serve. So, Laura, can you share with us some of the things that you think are fundamental for us as entrepreneurs to keep in mind when it comes to this whole idea of
Mhm.
money and mindset?
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to, and love for excuse me, love for this to be a conversation, because I love it to be interactive as well. So some of the fundamental things that I come back to, first of all, I come from a corporate background, and so when I started in my business, it was really different. Being in your own business. When I was in corporate, it was like I had this identity. I was with this big company. When I went to conferences, it was like you could just say who you were and people knew. And when it's your own business, that took some getting used to. It was, there was the whole just having that inner confidence and that alignment in that what I do matters, and that creating and that relationships matter. So the first part was that inner piece around really aligning and saying that I matter, my work matters, and me showing up today matters, right? And whether you're showing up participating in a group conversation, whether you are showing up as a speaker, whether you're showing up at a networking event, and all of this gets related to money. So we'll keep bringing that back, but it's like, you've got to have that inner alignment of this work that I'm doing matters, so that when you get up in the morning, you're like, all right, who can I impact today? How can I make somebody's world better? So that's, one piece. Another piece is that that approach to your business, an approach to how can I make someone's day better? And, the universe rewards connection, collaboration, generosity. I believe that there's a give and receive infinity loop, and that when you give your gifts, you receive gifts back. And sometimes it's in the form of money. Sometimes it's in the form of referrals. Sometimes it's in the form of a testimonial or opportunities, like, hey, come speak on this summit type of thing. And there is this reciprocity that happens. It's back and forth. It's known as the law of circulation. And so we want to be putting out, that generosity of spirit. So I try to approach everything, coming onto the show with this generosity of spirit. Like, how can I give of my energy, my inspiration, my wisdom, my expertise, and be able to receive back the energy, in the form of conversations or maybe inspiration, creativity, creative ideas. And so when you think about it as this flow, that starts, to me, that starts shifting your mindset around how business works. So then it doesn't become this thing. What I've noticed with a lot of, especially women entrepreneurs and a lot of spiritual creative types, is that we have this business of the work we do. Oh, and then there's money over there, and like, okay, now we got to go think about the money. And so I love to talk about the money and bring the money into our everyday conversation. So that's another foundational principle, is the more that you talk about money, not in a egotistical way, like, oh my God, she's always talking about money kind of thing, but in a way that like is really comfortable and aligned, where you're in conversations with other entrepreneurs about how much do you charge? What is your pricing? How do you handle your books, your bookkeeping? Like, we're in how much do you make? Are you up or down this year? How's COVID affecting your business? And just be in the conversation of money. And if you notice that people who are in corporate, they talk about money all the time. They talk about budgets and expenses and revenue and sales and things like that. And somehow we get into our own business and it's like, oh, we're not supposed to talk about those things. And so keeping it hidden like that makes it then harder to have the conversations, right? And then it's harder to be in alignment with generating money. So another principle is to really let yourself talk about the money, get comfortable talking about the money. One of the things that I even have my clients do is when they are moving into like another level of maybe their programs that they're offering and how much they're going to charge, they will say, they'll put a higher price tag on it. And so I'll have them go around their house, right, or their office, and just practice saying out loud that new price. Like, I have a $10,000 package. Why, of course it's $10,000. Oh, that would be 2 payments of $5,500 each. And it sounds kind of silly, but it's like you actually get it into your body and you get out the jitters of speaking the money. And that's such an important part, is that getting comfortable with money in all these different ways. All right, I'll take a sip. I'm going to take a sip, and then I'll see, Davia, if you have any questions or comments about those, and I have more principles I can
you
share.
you have been sharing such great wisdom, that we're really spellbound, and we're just enjoying that you're pouring this into us. I think for some of us, there is a hesitation when it comes to offering our offerings that we do, so that comes so easily to us, the thing that we do that we love so much that comes so easily to us, offering it, especially at a high price point. And when I say high price point, you mentioned $10,000 for
Just
whatever,
pulled out. Yeah, that could be
just
anything,
pulled that
right?
out. For some people, offering up an offer for $10,000 feels difficult. Where do we start when it comes to, being able to ask for a higher price point? And how can we get mentally in tune with the idea that asking for this higher price point is actually aligned and source led?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to stretch into your money, stretch into pricing. And it's some of what we'll be talking about on the summit, actually, talking about your money flow and how to set money flow goals. But
And
I
so
like to,
Summit, for those of you who don't know and haven't gotten your tickets yet, first, what rock have you been hiding under? And second, go get your ticket right now. growsmarternotharder.com/ticket. It's going to be March 21st and 22nd. We will be getting together with a small group in the room, but if you can't make it in the room, that's okay, because we will also be virtual. It's going to be a hybrid event, and Laura is actually going to be on stage presenting a lot more, going into way more detail, because all our summits, which are basically retreats, they're workshop style events. They're opportunities for you to come get work done that you can implement back in your business when you get back to work. So Laura, you were saying.
yes, good. I'm glad you said that. So I'm excited to be participating at the summit, and I can't wait to see all the people who are going to be in our room, and live and virtual. So one of the things I like to teach and practice myself is resonant pricing. And that is, and you mentioned about, is it sourced or is it from default? Default is like default pricing would be, I've got to charge what everybody else is charging. I have to charge what I charged last time. Oh, I can, they can't pay this amount, so I'm only going to charge them this little bit over here. And it's a lot of assumptions built into that. So I like to do resonant pricing, which is really starting with your own body as a tuning instrument for resonant pricing, and creating, so let's say you create a package, and the resonant pricing, and what I mean by resonant is like what feels in alignment with your values, what you can speak. Doesn't matter what anybody else is sharing, right? You have to start with what feels good. And so say, creating a package for $1,000 feels good for however many months, 3 months or something. And it's going to be different for everybody. I'm just pulling that out as an example. And then you charge that for a few times. And then after you do that, you're going to build up that courage muscle, and you're going to see results. You're going to get testimonials. You're going to start working with someone, and you're going to realize, oh, this is my process. This is my signature work that I'm doing. And then the more that you cultivate that, then you're going to get more comfortable raising your price again and saying, I've had 3 clients at that price. Now I feel more comfortable. I'm going to raise my rates. And then you think, let's just use that example of $1,000 for 3 months. All right, what if I charge $5,000 for 3 months? And then it's like, oh my gosh, your body just closes down, your throat closes down. Okay, that's too much of a stretch. But what if you decide to double it to $2,000, right? So you use your body as a tuning instrument. Now, what I will say is that working with a coach can help you tune your body to bigger and bigger amounts, right? If they, that's something I specialize in, is helping you stretch so that you're, it's really working with your nervous system and also working with your inner protector. It's like physically in your body, you have to get comfortable because your nervous system is going to just go with the fight, flight, or hide, right? You're going to do one or the other, one of those things, or freeze, not be able to say the words, right? You're going to be able to say the price. So that's often what happens. So getting comfortable and start expanding. And that's part of the things that we're going to be working with in the workshop, where you actually get an opportunity to expand that pricing. I was going to take a breath and just see if you have any other comments.
No, this is outstanding information. So, Laura, how does that all tie together with the sort of marketing that we do?
Mm-hmm. So it, it's all part of it, right? It's funny because I was having coffee with a colleague today, and she's not in the coaching business, she's in the corporate world, and but we were talking about coaching and business and things like that. And one of the things that is so important is that it all comes together. Like, we always want to do our expertise, like our passion. The passion is the healing, or the passion is writing, or the passion is coaching or something like that. And so to have a business, you have to stretch and say, okay, but I need to also figure out ways to get the rest of the business done, right? Figure out ways either with help or support or coaching and being with colleagues and in masterminds and things like that. And money is one part of that. And so you want to bring in the money, because the money is going to support you in being able to continue to do your passionate work. Right. And so you want to be able to make really great money. And the more that you can work to take that edge off of money, that prickly sense of, oh no, we're going to talk about money now. The more you can get comfortable with it in your body so that you can just speak it out loud, like you're talking to your cat, or your dog at home, then it'll start stretching you. Right. And then you'll be able to, then you're showing up with this abundance mindset. And you start really getting into this abundance mindset. And so let me talk about that a little bit. To me, that's a real basic piece. And abundance mindset is when you're talking about money, it's whether you're doing your marketing. Abundance mindset is about expecting good things to happen and showing up with that generosity of spirit, and that you might show up on a summit and you might speak and you just expect good things to happen. And it may come from, I got 1,000 people on my list, something very direct, or 20 people bought my program, or it might show up because you met somebody amazing who then introduced you to somebody else, or somebody saw your video from it, and they invited you to their maybe even more visible podcast. So the generosity of spirit is just you give with no guarantee. Right? You give with no guarantee, but you give in a way that you just know, like the message is going to go to the right people, and that you're going to attract opportunities that are going to come to you. And so that's part of that abundance mindset. The same thing with your marketing, coming from that abundance mindset of, I'm going to use my creativity. I'm going to use my abundance. I'm going to share and make people's world better through your marketing. Marketing isn't something that you do to people. It's something that you do for people. And so when you start looking at it like that, it's like your marketing, then I look at it like these little opportunities to share a gift with people through my marketing. And that's a really different, because a lot of people, I know when they first come to me, they're like, I had one client who, she would call it the M word. She wouldn't even say marketing. She's like, oh, I don't want to do the M word. And she came from a school administrator background. And they didn't market in schools. That wasn't something that they, were taught, right? And so we reframed that marketing. And what she found, because she had started she wanted to coach administrators and principals and teachers. But she didn't like the idea of the M word, right? She couldn't even say it. And so we worked together and came up with her authentic, natural style, which was, I get to take these principals and administrators to lunch and to breakfast and have conversations with them and talk about what's possible and what's getting in the way and what's broken in their school and how I can help them. She's like, oh my gosh, that's so much fun. She's like, that doesn't even feel like marketing. And so at the end of 3 months, she sent me a picture that she had behind her. It was this big poster she created, had this big heart around it. And inside it said, I love marketing. It was
She
so
loves
cute.
marketing. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That's a wonderful story. And I feel like many of us can relate to that because for somebody, for example, like me, coming from the healthcare field where marketing
Right.
is not something that you really see being done on the individual level. Maybe your hospital might market, but
Right.
even so, so very sparingly. And so coming to market myself and market our summits and that sort of thing, there is a little bit of resistance there, I have to admit, at least in the very beginning. So it is
Right.
so refreshing to hear you reframe this idea of marketing not being something that you do to people, but that you do for them to invite them into being able to take advantage of the benefit that you're going to be able to bring to their lives. I
Yeah.
love that so much. I want to
Yeah.
ask you one more thing, Laura. I want to
Mhm.
ask you about, you mentioned a little bit earlier about how working with a coach who has this sort of expansion magic, to use a turn of phrase, can actually help you to move forward in terms of being able to price appropriately and to market appropriately. Can you say a little bit more about what that expansion magic is all about?
Yeah, sure. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. Part of that is to me, it's that abundance mindset and the possibility thinking, you know? And so to me, working with a coach, and I have a lot of that already, but I have worked with coaches for 25 years. You know, when I was in corporate, I worked with a career coach to find my next thing. And then when I realized I wanted to start my own coaching business, I worked with a coach to help start the business. And then I have worked with coaches constantly, you know, around spirituality, around relationships, around money, around online marketing, just every facet of my life and my really my own personal presence, because your personal presence, when you have your own business, it's your personal presence that really attracts people. And so the more that you can get comfortable in your own skin and get comfortable finding your voice, get comfortable with, here's my message. And, you know, going back to what we talked about at the very beginning, knowing that your work really matters. And so when you show up with your message, that you're comfortable in your own skin, that your work really matters and it's going to make a difference. Yeah. And that to me is the work that that's what I do to help get you into that expansion magic. Because we can say, oh, plaster a affirmation on and think great thoughts and stuff like that. But you have to really get in there. And I mean, like, get in there deep, you know, that's the work that I do. Because it's easy to come up with marketing ideas. When you work with a marketing coach, they can tell you, go do these 3 things. 90% of my clients, what I was finding was 90% of my clients wouldn't go do the 3 things. I'd write a prescription for marketing. They wouldn't go do it. It's not they didn't want to do it. They just got really, really scared and got really triggered. Their inner protector just shut them down and was really crafty at sabotaging in all sorts of creative ways. And so the more you can work with that inner saboteur who's going to shut your body down and shut your thinking down and make you go into overwhelm, or what I call fuzzy brain, the greater that you'll then get more comfortable. So then you can start doing your work. You can start putting your marketing out there with that possibility thinking and that abundance, and trusting and having faith in that abundance thinking.
I love that. So I know that many of our viewers and listeners are going to want to reach out to you because they can see the benefit of being able to work with a coach like you who can really help to elevate their money and marketing mindset. How can people reach out to you, Laura?
Sure. A couple different ways. One is I have a free gift that I'd love to invite you to, and that is it's a toolkit called Activating Your Abundance. And you can go to joyfulbusiness.com/abundance gift. And in there is a meditation for your really connecting with the universal abundance current that I believe is always around us, always working. There is a 7-day journal that is about co-creating with the universe. And then there's an ebook about some principles around the abundance mindset. So that's one of the great ways to do that. And you can also reach out to me personally on Facebook, and happy to have a conversation with you as well.
Wonderful. So I'm going to open this up a little bit to get some comments from our wonderful ladies who have joined us here in the room today. I was wondering, Kelly, Carlene, Dina, did you guys have any questions or even just a comment, something that stood out for you from our conversation with Laura today?
Well, I can go first if
Sure,
somebody isn't.
Kelly, please do.
So Laura, I love that you talk about the energy behind everything, because that is part of a huge part of what I do, is understanding energetic frequencies and how they impact each and every being, whether we're conscious to it or not. So I love that. But as this person coming in as a shaman and an animal communicator, it is difficult to find the ways of explaining exactly what I do with marketing. So I find myself often having that hesitation. I am extremely confident when I speak and what my gift is and when I'm in front of a crowd. But when it comes to the actual marketing there definitely is some hesitation into stepping into that form.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So I like to reframe marketing. I think every time we say the word, it's like my client, the M word, all of a sudden, because I love it, because you were like, oh, I'm really confident. I can talk to people. I can do this. But when it comes to the marketing, so that right there, that little, like, I always look for the friction. Where's the friction? So to me, and I know you're one of, like, all of us have done this at one time or another. It's that little place where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got a market. And so it's like, how can we address that little place, or big place, where that friction shows up? And so I like to encourage my clients to look at marketing as though you're either inspiring, educating, entertaining. And so that, telling stories, showing examples instead of telling. So when you can get into the showing, telling stories, things like that, then that little friction place is just going across the bridge to inviting. And so however you've been connecting with them, if you're speaking, things like that, but we cross the bridge into inviting. So instead of crossing the bridge into like marketing, now I got to do this thing to people, it's like, no, we're just going to cross the bridge and we're going to have an invitation. And so then it's all about the invitation. What do they need to know to accept the invitation? They need to know what the party is about. They, like if you were going to do an invitation for that, it's like, where is it? When is it? What's the benefit of coming to the party? You're going to see all your friends, or, like you kind of treat it like an invitation to an event, whether it's coaching or a product or any of that. Then to me, it's, and you wouldn't lead with, okay, well, this event is, $500. You would lead with like, what's going to get them excited about it. Right. And then you come into and then that's the money conversation's another piece of it. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that feedback. Think of it as an invitation. Ladies, I would love to take so many more questions from you. And so I will invite you to, if you're watching or listening to this on YouTube or on our podcast channel, why don't you hop on over to our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group? Join us. We are a friendly bunch of people, and our one intention is to bring people together who are really interested in supporting each other. So come on over and you can continue this conversation with Laura West and other entrepreneurs who are like-minded. Laura, before we go, can you just share again where people can find your free gift that you are so generously sharing with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. Activating Your Abundance, this cool little bundle I've put together. And you can get it at joyfulbusiness.com/abundance gift.
Beautiful. And to say thank you to everybody who joined us here today, we want to offer you the buy one, get one free ticket for attending our summit. So you'll see a little note dropped in your Facebook Messenger group, which will tell you exactly how to claim your prize from me. So you got two prizes today. You get a prize and you get a prize and everybody gets a prize because it's Free Gift Friday. Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing with us so generously. Dina, Carlene, Kelly, Marianne, everybody who's joined us today in the room, I want to say thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.